Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 5th grade concept of describing parts of a whole. This is standard 6.5C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 10 of the Redesign Practice Online STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we have a study shows 75% of people who joined a gym did so in January, which value is equivalent to 75%. So we're simply just trying to find something that's equal to 75%. Let's open up our graph draw feature here. So there's a few different ways that we can solve this. So we have a percent. So one thing we've spent a lot of time in 6th grade talking about is how we can convert items from percents to decimals to fractions, and back and forth and back and forth. So one of the easiest conversions here is going to be from a percent to a decimal, and then from a decimal to a fraction. And eventually we will memorize these because there are some benchmark fractions that we should memorize so we don't have to keep doing these conversions. But 75% is one of those, but if you don't automatically know that, let me show you the slow way of figuring this out. So 75%. All right, so 75%, there's two different ways to think of this, and either way can kind of get us into our decimal and our fraction. So the full percent is going to be 100, right? So we could easily think of this as a fraction of 75 over 100. Any percent, doesn't matter what percent it is, can be viewed as a fraction over 100 because the full one whole is always going to be 100%, so it can be viewed as part of that, 75 over 100. Or you can always put the decimal and move it twice to the left. Now, if there's no decimal there, it's always after the ones place. We typically don't include it unless there's a tenths or hundredths, but it always goes after the ones place. So when we move from a fraction, a percent to a decimal, we move it over twice. Twice to the left, so we're going to get 0.75. Now, these two match right here, because how do I read this right here? 75 hundredths, and how do I say this fraction 75 hundredths? Because remember, this is the hundredths spot. So really what we're wanting to do here is we're wanting to look first, get eyes on this. Is there a 0.75? Because that's the equivalent of 75%. I don't see 0.7. I see 7.5, and I see just plain old 75. But that's a whole lot difference if I said 75 cents versus $7.50 versus $75. That decimal makes a big difference. So since we're not finding an equivalent there, it needs to be here with the fraction. But I don't see 75 over 100. What we do need to do, though, is now be thinking, okay, can you simplify? Right? Is there a number that goes into both? Now, you might not immediately know the largest number, but we can divide. Let's divide both by 5s first. And let me just show you, in case you don't always know, the most efficient way. You can do multiple division. So we divide by 5 over 5 because that is equal to 1. Any number over itself is equal to 1. When you multiply or divide by 1, you're not changing the fraction. You're just making it look different. 75 divided by 5 is going to be 15. 100 divided by 5 is 20. Now you got to be thinking, can that be divided again? Yes. We can do that same thing. By 5 over 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And in case you're wondering, the most efficient way was just to, you can multiply both of those, and you can do by 25. If you do 75 over 100, and you find an equivalent fraction by dividing by 25 over 25, you get straight into the 3/4. And that is our answer, A.